Hello to the two fans and welcome. This is Chicago Ted coming to you with CEVO Season 6. We're just about ready to get on into the game here. I preemptively started right as we were loading in, but it looks like we should have no trouble going into that one. Bringing chat up to speed. Game in 2 minutes time for them. So, with that said, you're watching Chicago Ted bringing to you this fine match. It's going to be Leviathan versus Team eHug. And of course, I'm not alone. Not only am I joined by Statsman Cart Dota, but I am also graced with the presence of Mr. FanOfSoyeon. How you doing, man? Oh, wait. I got to call him first. Let's see. We're good to go on that end.
Reserve time.
All right, while I wait for Mr. Goody here, we'll just go ahead and bring you guys on in to the draft as, well, Juggernaut being taken out first. Oh, what are we expecting at this point? Team eHug, though, they're going to go for the respect ban, and now we've got the call going. Let's see. Show us your game voice, dude, or I guess tell us your game voice.
Hello?
Hello, man. I got to increase your volume. Damn it. There's always something wrong.
Is it too quiet?
Alright, we're good?
No. I hear you, it's just fine.
No, I increased
my
your
volume?
volume, dude. You were low.
Alright.
Alright, so, with that all out of the way, we always have to go through some little sound bites before the game starts, but we're still pretty early on into the drafting, so it doesn't exactly matter at this point. We'll go and jump right on into it. Again, anyone, if you have any troubles with the sound levels, let me know. I will fix it as soon as I can. So, back onto the draft. Well, with you full onto the game, why don't we let you take it away?
Alright. Let's see. We see Team eHug banning like the signature heroes from Leviathan,
Yeah.
like the Butcher. That's like really unusual ban, but it's, when you say that against Leviathan, it's like reasonable because they like the hero. The Bruce Buster is just like a solid ban overall that they also like to run. So eHug definitely knows what they're dealing with, and they seem to have a plan against that. As for Leviathan, they still get a hero that they really like a lot, which is the Troll Warlord. They pick it as soon as they can, if it's available, so no surprise there. So let's see how the draft continues to go.
Alright, just a quick heads up, you got a little bit of a clicking sound going on in your background. If you know what's causing that, that would be great if we could try to get that a little lower, but aside from that, we've got Team eHug picking up the Lions, so that's an interesting pick. I don't think I've seen that one come out yet.
Which one? The Lion?
The Lion. At least not first. I could be wrong.
It's understandable sometimes. It's definitely not really common, but it's not a bad pick. It's like a commonly used hero in this meta game. It's a strong support with a really good disable.
Yeah, he's got a lot of time on that disable too. I mean, kind of Shadow Shaman-esque with the amount of time he can put with between the Hex and the Earth Spike. And they're going to go double up their supports, double up their disables, and grab the Ogre Magi. So a very strong bursting combo coming out so far from the side of eHug.
Yeah, definitely. Really high burst and magic damage, so that's pretty good. But at the same time, it can be really punished by Leviathan because it's always kind of bad to pick both of your supports this early. It usually opens up the draft for the enemy team a lot more than they normally would, because they know already what kind of idea you have, so they can just ban the course and try to work around that.
Yeah, and well, Leviathan, they start out with a pretty tricky combo already. They got the Phases Void Troll Warlord, so we've got Team eHug grabbing both their supports, and Leviathan are going to go ahead and start out the gate with 2 cores, and really, these guys are very flexible cores. You can have the Phases Void run either safe or off lane. Same with the Troll. He can run either mid or safe, and both of them can get quite a bit of farm. But the real big thing about these guys is the synergy with their ultimates. And I think you were here with me the other day, maybe a couple weeks ago, when we saw this exact thing come out between the Troll Warlord and the Phases Void. Can't remember if it was Leviathan or a different team, but it was incredibly scary to deal with.
It always is. It's a really strong combo. Just the synergy between those heroes is really strong. The Troll Warlord is a hero that's been used more often recently, and you can see it with a lot of heroes. Boy is one of the best. but there's also like a Spirit Breaker, be it offlane or support. You just charge somebody, and when they land, you just throw all, and the Spirit Breaker goes crazy with it. And pretty much any right clicker, to be honest, it's just a strong hero right now.
Yeah, so they're going to go ahead and grab the Tide in their ban. Ancient Apparition will be banned out as well. And you mentioned the Spirit Breaker. I think Leviathan were one of the teams that have done that in the past too. I don't think I see many teams going for Spirit Breaker nowadays, but he definitely does benefit from that attack speed, and the extra movement speed going the way of Leviathan's 2 cores already is pretty scary. The only downside is that they'd have a lot of melee coming out, but Troll obviously being able to switch between the two. And they really can have any supporting cast with that as long as they're nukers. I mean, any stuns, anything, because the Chronosphere is the ultimate setup. So you grab the Skywrath Mage, boom, instant Mystic Flare, can't do anything about it. Same goes for really any spell in the game. So right now, Leviathan have a really good setup going on right now, and I'm really interested to see what Team eHug is going to start to run in the into the category of their carries, their mid laners, stuff like that.
Yeah, very interesting on that too. The problem with that I was referring before with picking your 2 cores or 2 supports this early is, for example, you can see that eHug is already banning the AA, and they're most likely going to ban the Skywrath, although they don't go for it. It's because they know that they have are going against a bully this early, so they can just ban the strong support that synergize with them. So the AA ban is no surprise there, although the Omni is a little bit more surprising. I thought they would go for the Skywrath ban.
The Omni, it is very surprising because, I mean, Omni's great, but we're taking a look at Leviathan, and usually with an Omni Knight, you go after the heroes that get up close and personal with, like, their blinks, and while Faceless Void does have a time walk, Omni Knight doesn't exactly synergize with that as well as you'd say something like a PA or along those lines. And also, both Troll Warlord and Faceless Void have a backtrack or an evasion, so the Guardian Angel may not be as effective on them as others, but it is a very interesting ban, as you say. I definitely would have expected to see something like the Skywrath a little bit more, but maybe Team eHug knows something we don't here, and they go ahead and they take it out. They don't want to deal with it. And I guess the really big thing is the fact that the Repel would be very, very useful against the Lion and the Ogre, but aside from that, I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, me neither. The only thing that the Omni Knight is good against us, for like what you said, the Lion and the Ogre magic, but at the same time, I don't think it's worth of banning. If anything, they could have picked this themselves, because Omni Knight, the Guardian Angel, could be really strong against the Troll World and Void. So maybe they messed up and they thought it was their turn to pick, and they wanted the Omni Knight and then ended up banning it. Yeah, not surprised there. That's what I said. I'm surprised that eHug didn't ban the Skywrath because it was obvious that Leviathan was going to go for it.
Exactly. So. I do like their pick, though. The Dazzle pickup is really good because you let that guy get Chronosphere. The Shallow Grave is going to help them out immensely. So it's not quite an Omni Knight, but it does have a very unique set of skills, and I think the Dazzle is going to be a very, very big player in this. But this also kind of opens up a big hole in eHug where it's who are they going to run as a core? And I've seen Ogre Magi get run as that core position, but I mean, that's going to be a very difficult thing to run this game.
It can definitely work. All the 3 support heroes technically that they pick can be a core, like a mid laner. Yeah, I've seen usually run the Dazzle mid.
I've seen it and played it. But a Dazzle over an Ogre and a Lion, it definitely would surprise me at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when you have like that much surprise factor, you can actually mind game your enemies, and they don't know what they're gonna go against.
Well, there are some definite mind games going on right now, though. They're gonna go ahead and grab the Tiny, so they're just increasing their nuke damage by so much right now, and I don't know, Leviathan don't exactly have the tankiest of heroes right now, so they get caught out by this. I'm pretty sure Team eHug with magic damage alone can kill 3 to 4 of their heroes just on the initial burst.
Yeah, they can kill the Skywrath and Witch Doctor really easily.
Yep. Even Faceless Void and Troll rely so much on armor to keep themselves alive. They don't exactly have the best base HP pool.
Yeah. But the Faceless Void with the backtrack is really can be hard to kill.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
what's interesting is the tiny pick without the wisp. That's like really unusual. The tiny's overall is a decent hero, but
Yeah.
it's really hard to see him without a wisp.
Uh-huh. No,
And I
yeah, the
don't think
Wisp.
they're gonna go for it. So
Yeah, well, they can't. They really don't have the lineup to support a Wisp unless they like do some funky stuff with a dual mid, maybe throw a Lion as a carry and Ogre or Dazzle off lane, but they don't exactly have again, they don't have the support for that. So I don't know, because a Wisp is so damn good with Tiny, just because of that movement speed, the attack speed, keeping him alive. The across the map movement is great. But okay, that's a support that I can see being run as a core a little bit better, and that is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to have a lot of zapping coming out in this game.
yeah, they have really high burst, and now we can see a little bit more of why they banned the Omni Knight. They had like a plan overall
Yep.
with the Lina and the Tiny. So
Yeah.
now it makes a little bit more sense that Omni Knight ban. Although
Yeah.
their lanes are still like kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what they're gonna do except for like Lina mid, and other than that, I have no idea what else can they do. With the
Lina mid,
offlaner.
aggro try, solo safe ogre or something like that. I don't know. The Viper kind of throws a huge spoke in that, though. Whichever lane Viper's in, he's going to win that lane. Team eHug does not have the greatest laning phase right now.
They're definitely not, but oh, it seems like it's Ogre Magi offlane.
Yeah,
And I think
MJW.
I saw Evil Geniuses do it before, like
Yep.
I don't know, maybe like 3-4 months ago, when the Ogre Magi made was like being big often, really often. So maybe they make it work, but it's still really unusual.
Unusual, but unusual doesn't always mean it can't work. And, you know, I got to say, I am real excited about how this game's going to go on, because not only is this a really interesting and really big game, but it's also a very interesting lineup coming out from these teams. So I can't say I've seen a game like this in a very long time.
Me neither. Looking forward to this game. Should be fun.
Should be
Hello.
very fun. All right. So for Leviathan, who are going to be the Dire in this match, it's going to be Shredder on the Faceless Void. Jenkins will be on the Viper. Shibby on the Troll Warlord. Nusham on the Skywrath, and Flying Zebra launching that early smoke on the Witch Doctor. They're going to go hunting for a kill. Hieri, I think that's SN7. He's going to be on the Tiny with Sna playing the Dazzle. Infinity on the Lina, Lust on the Lion, and MJW on the Ogre Magi.
Alright, we can see now that they're maybe thinking of a dual lane with the Lion and Ogre Magi. That makes a little bit more sense. It's really common to see now the dual lane offlaners. It's just really strong in this current meta game. And you can do a lot of different weird lineups with it.
Weird lineups, yeah, this is definitely a weird lineup. So, speaking of weird, this smoke goes off, nothing becomes of it. Viper checking the Roche Pit just for posterity, but at the moment, that's a nice chunk of change that you just throw down the drain. Don't find any kills off of that one, certainly not first blood. They do get the bottom rune, but on top of that, nothing much. So was that worth it, or was the potential cost good enough, or was that just kind of awkward movement?
The thing is that when you smoke this early at the start, it's because you have like a plan in mind. You want to block the jungle camps as much as you can, because obviously they should have the jungler on the other team. But on this particular case, it just doesn't make sense at all. They just smoke and place a ward that doesn't really block anything, and it's just a common ward that gives like normal vision. So it's a bit questionable, but it's definitely not a big waste, to be honest.
Yeah, the only thing I could see come out of it is maybe they were trying to go for the wraparound and grab anyone waiting for the rune. But aside from that, wasn't much going on. So looking at the other lanes right now, we've got Infinity in the mid lane. He's going to start out with a Null Talisman, a couple pooled Tangos. How do you think he's going to fare up in this lane against Shibby's Troll Warlord?
He should be just fine. The lane has a really strong middle lane. It usually wins pretty much any lineup if you're like good with the timing of the skills. You can just keep spamming the Dragon Slave and just get to stay in range. You don't even have to like risk your hero to any sort of damage from the enemies.
Yeah, even though Shibi's got that ranged option, I mean, Lina's range is just so much better. He can't really get close, and with that starting Null Talisman, his damage is looking pretty good. So he is definitely going to be having a nice little time in this lane, already pulling ahead in the CS board. MJW kind of soloing the off lane, getting some experience, but definitely not going to be doing as well as this Viper Witch Doctor combo, which is just putting Hyuri or SN7 for a spin here. They're actually going to go through the jungle and maybe try to find Lust, but instead they're going to go ahead and just steal the creeps.
Yeah. Like I said, it's really common right now to see more dual lanes being played on the offlaner. Like even though they don't synergize that well, it's still like good to have the presence of two heroes on the offlaner, just because you can stop the enemy core from farming.
We got a Casket coming out. They're trying to go on to SN7, but they turn it on to Jenkins. And here he chases, gets some tower hits, but nothing big coming out of that one. SN7 going to go ahead, or Sna, sorry, going to go ahead and grab an Invis rune. Mid lane, though, looks like Infinity is going to go ahead and grab First Blood, turns it around onto Shibi through a gank, and that will be a nice surge of gold going to the way of the eHug mid here, as that's a very unexpected kill. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we see Witch Doctor drops low enough to hit the Grave. Speaking of Grave, Sna might have to use Shallow Grave, will use it, but now they turn it on to Jenkins, and they will go ahead and grab a quick 3-0. 2 minutes and 50 seconds in to this game.
That's interesting fact that the mid Lina has only 20% win rate. I'm surprised by that. Like, Lina's a really strong hero right now.
Really strong
when you're
mid.
running, yeah.
I mean, really strong mid, really good snowballer, but doesn't really transition ultimately that well. I mean, Ags and then like you're just nuking. It's nothing big. You get blown up easily, what I would imagine. So that's the only justification I can think about with that stat here. But obviously he's going to be doing really well in this lane. Really strong start, and he's dealing equal harass out to Shibi under Shibi's tower.
Yeah, he's a strong mid laner, and I still think he should have a higher win rate, because even though sure, you get an axe, but that's guaranteed that you're going to kill somebody, because with the change, it makes it pure damage. Yeah, you're basically bursting down somebody at the start of the fight, and then you have like the stack first hold buff, and you're attacking like a max attack speed and stuff like that. And you become a really hard right clicker. So look at mid.
Yeah, mid lane here. He's going to go out, start out with the Avalanche, and they don't really waste any time. They're just going to go ahead, chain out a couple of stuns, spells, and they just burst them straight on down. Looks like they want to try to find some vengeance on to MJW top, but they're not quite able to get the bashes as slow as anything. So it will put them on the board, or it won't put them on the board, but it will put them 4 up. And Leviathan struggling a little bit. Oh, actually top lane, they're going to go straight on to Nusham. He'll drop here, making it a 5-1 right now. Shredder has no real threat of dying. But these supports, Lust and eHug, they really are making a go in this top lane and putting some pressure on.
Yeah, eHug is winning every single lane. They're getting the kills and rotations really well, and they're just outplaying their enemy just by their movement.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really big, because I think I was the one that went out first and said these guys aren't really going to have that much fun in their lanes, but this obviously quite the opposite. They are just wrecking face right now. And mid, yeah, that 6 comes out, and once the 6 goes, the zap happens, and Infinity makes short work of the Troll Warlord, a low, relatively low HP pool. Max matched up against a lot of burst damage. Not a good combo. Well, actually, Courier might die here. They're going to go on. Nusham doesn't want to reveal himself, though. He's going to wait. Puts out the concussive shot onto Sna. Now they turn onto him, and they will go ahead and grab that kill here. Getting stunned up by the paralyzing cask, and, well, that's a death. He tosses back the Viper, but the Witch Doctor will end up grabbing the kill regardless. And it's 6-3. They put themselves 2 more kills up on the board and give themselves a nice little advantage in this bottom lane, but that's still looking pretty good for eHug in this laning phase, only dropping a very small amount of advantage in that fight.
Yeah, but Leviathan is doing the right thing. They need to keep on going in bottom lane. It's the only lane that they have any chance of killing, and they're already doing decent on that lane. So if they keep the pressure up, the Tiny is not gonna have that much impact. Because if they go for the Lina right now, I think the Lina might even get 2 kills in return just by getting ganked.
Yeah, I mean, her Laguna Blade is already up. That sure says something right there. Nusham is gonna have an invisibility rune. He's gonna look to kill Lust here, but there's actually a convergence of 3 now with the... Oh, well, he's just going to go ahead and drop here. Shredder comes in for that kill, and like good supports, they give it to him. And unfortunately, he's going to take a Fire Blast. Not going to kill him, but burst him down just a little bit. Grabbing that kill, though, is definitely a huge influx of gold for him, as his net worth is looking not too bad. He's in the top 3 right now, top 4 now.
I'm worried about Leviathan's mid laner. The troll is just getting completely stumped right now. The Lina's ahead by almost 3 levels. They need to like help him, not so much by ganking, because like I said, if they do go for the gank, they might end up dying and feeling more. But they need like make a rotation that the troll goes somewhere else and maybe like dual lane against the Lina, or just completely skip that lane and go for somewhere else.
Yeah, it's... At this point, he's got to find something. And I know Leviathan really like utilizing the jungle, especially if their mid lane has a little bit of trouble. So I imagine that they're going to be stacking. Yeah, they've been actively trying to get some stacks across the jungle, and maybe that'll help. Yep, Jenkins in the bottom lane will get hit by the Hex. They put out the Earth Spike, but he turns around, gets out the Viper Strike onto Lust. They will go ahead and clean Lust up, and Jenkins should be home free from this one. The wow, he actually doesn't get hit at all by the Shadow Wave. Now they're going to turn on to him. He hits up the Shallow Grave really early there. Now with an Arcane Bolt coming through, not going to be enough to get the kill. Maybe Nusham's in a little bit of trouble, overextending a bit. The toss comes out, but doesn't exactly hit on anything. At least I think the toss came out. I saw something flying. In comes Shredder, though, with the Chronosphere onto Infinity, but Skywrath Mage has nothing to do for it. And Shredder actually might get Infinity here. A 1-man and the Light Strike Array. Here he is there. In comes Chibi, though. Wants more on Infinity, but doesn't able to get the last auto attacks off, and wasn't able to do too much aside from that. He does have a Haste Rune, so he is continuing to chase here. This is a very ballsy move. He comes out with a Whirling Axe and gets the kill immediately onto Sna. He was looking for Infinity, but I think he's all right with what he gets there. And that brings up the score to equilibrium, 6-6 at 9 minutes.
Yeah, he had to move, and thankfully he got a kill, so that's at least going to provide the boots for him. Also, on that previous fight, the toss did go through, but it wasn't towards the Viper, or the Viper. So he didn't actually hit the Skywrath with it.
That is a shame, because that toss would have killed him. And a Skywrath lived and through all of it. Like that's the huge thing. The Lion died, and the Skywrath lived. So that's some pretty big stuff coming out from Leviathan. They're definitely showing some composure, despite having what was a pretty messy first couple of minutes.
They need to keep it moving, though.
Yeah.
It's not enough. At least they're doing fine with the supports, because they're both level 4 and 5. Well, basically both of them are level 5. And on the side of eHug, the Lion is still level 4. Like, just barely. So, at least they're bleeding on that. But the Lina's way ahead right now with the Midas and levels.
Lust is going to go out. Hex immediately. They actually don't really chain up their stuns too well, but it doesn't really matter. They're going to go ahead and grab Jenkins regardless, just because they just have a lot there and a lot of stun to spare. So, they bring him down. No trouble said about it. And Leviathan, they drop a kill. Definitely not one that they want to be dropping. And Tiny, well, he's going to grab a little bit of extra gold there.
Bit of questionable play by the Viper.
Yep.
He sure had a decent laning phase, but right now he's just an open target. If he stays on the bottom like that, they can just easily gank him, and there's like no way for his team to respond in time. He was way too far away from the tower.
They committed a smoke to that one, though, which, I mean, may have made it a little bit easier to get on top of him, but you're right. A very aggressive position was being taken by him, and they just converged on him to the point where he couldn't do anything. And with the amount of lockdown that eHug have in their arsenal, it's really a dangerous idea, as you said. So Leviathan look like they want to go ahead and try to defend the mid tower, but it's dropping way too fast, and they don't exactly have their cast ready to go. So the tower stays standing, and that will, because of a back off from the Ogre Magi, Shibi will be there to defend the rest of the creeps. And Infinity, I'm not sure if he wants to go for this one, but he does anyway. And with that attack speed, he just gets a little bit of chip damage, puts it just barely outside of deny range, and backs himself away.
Yeah. We should talk a little bit more about the Ogre Magi. Although he's not having any impact into the game because he's not being involved on kills, but he's still doing decent. He's got the levels. Interesting is he's not rushing for the axe, which is what we saw when people were running this hero as a core. They would just rush the axe as soon as possible. He's going for like more utility with the ball and even the orange arm. Shadows, yeah.
He's just been chilling by the creeps too, so it's no surprise that he's got so many levels. And hold on, Shredder's going to find himself in the wrong neighborhood as he drives up to the cliff and gets turned into a frog. Kissed by the Skywrath Mage back into a void, but not really able to do too much on top of that. He is glowing a nice shade of blue, though. That's not really going to help if you're a chicken. So they put out the weave, give themselves some minus armor here, and well, eHug, they should have no trouble defending this one, but I don't think Leviathan want to directly confront them, at least not yet.
No, they shouldn't be. They wanted to get the gank, they even spoke with it, but it was really unfortunate that the Lion was standing on the cliff. They're just gonna go back and farm.
I bet they've been keeping eyes on this Ogre Magi too. Like, I'd be really surprised if they had no idea that there was a level 9 Ogre Magi just kind of running around. So they are obviously going to be playing very careful because of that and not really making too many harsh movements until they know exactly where that Ogre is and what his potential in these fights is going to be. So Shredder will just go back to farming, got the Mask of Madness ready to go, but not too much on top of that one. And the rest of his team, well, Shibi, FaZe, Boots, still a little bit poor from that altercation in the mid lane. Flying Zebra with the Bracer and Boots, not much on top of that. Jenkins looking fairly decent. He's got the hood as well as some treads, so he's got a little bit of magic resistance going on there. Some nice tankiness being built from him, but his item, I guess, that would hint at him maybe going for a Pipe of Insight or something along those lines. I'm not sure if that's the kind of item he wants to rush, though.
On this game, it could work. Like, look at the eHug lineup. They have a lot of damage, so it's okay. Other than that, he can just keep the casual clock and just go for a bank. But either way, he needs to go for an utility item, be it a bank or a pipe. He needs it for the team, for sure.
For the team, yeah. His damage is going to suffer pretty big from it, and I feel like he's going to be one of their heroes that does the most damage, at least up until the 20-25 minute mark. So that might impede the progress, but yeah, we'll keep his team alive, and that's all you can hope for, I guess, versus this huge Magical Burst lineup. So I suppose I see the reasoning behind the idea. eHug, meanwhile, they're going to make their way up top. We've got MJW and Sna ready to go, but no one else. They're enough to get the defense off, though. I don't think they're really worried as Ogre Magi really towers over everyone else. And Infinity continuing to try to get some chip damage out in this mid tower. Still sitting at 158, but one solid push and Infinity will be able to bring that down with no trouble at all. Everyone across the map, though, just trying to farm up as best as they can. You see Jenkins looking to try to grab some Ancient stacks here, at least one set of Ancients, and that'll help out his farm just a little bit, but no one's really utilizing the jungle completely as of yet. It looks like it just respawned, though, so maybe we start to see a couple of heroes make their way into the wild unknown.
Yeah, this is what the Viper should be doing, though. Farming the Ancients is more effective than being on the enemy lane, like right next to the tower and feeding a kill. So at least he learned from his mistake over the previous gank. As for the middle lane, Chibi has to be so more careful right now because Infinity finish up the eels, so he can pretty much kill him anytime he wants.
Maybe not. Paralyzing Cast came out and it got a really nice bounce on him, but I guess with the supports TPing in and Leviathan really respecting this movement from eHug, he doesn't end up seeing any more aggression other than that, and he'll back himself away relatively healthy. He's got a Yule Scepter, though, which is really, really scary considering the amount of setup he can give himself now. Finding these solo pickoffs is going to be infinitely easier.
Yeah. Look at the Tiny though. He's saving up 2k gold. Starting to think that he's going to go for the Blink instead of finishing up the Axe, just because he's saving the gold. So that would be interesting to see.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the initiation from the Blink Avalanche, you've got the Yule Scepter if things go sour, or to find that next target and grab him for a full combo. They've got plenty of initiation, and eHug, if they've got all the initiation range, it looks like they've got a lot of vision across the map too. This game could quickly snowball in their favor if Leviathan aren't careful. Speaking of that vision, just want to point out some nice runes coming up, giving them some good vision across the map here, at least in the bottom half of it. Meanwhile, for Dire, it looks like they've only got this one ward up watching the bottom rune, so lacking a little bit in vision across the map, especially in the jungle, which they rely on so much for this extra farm.
Yeah. The boy pick up something. This a meteor hammer. No, nothing. No surprise there. He's going for the Maelstrom. If they finally get the mid tower, Infinity he gets it. Although he misses the lag.
He's in a lot of trouble. Infinity will go out. The Dragon Slave flies, and he'll grab the kill. Flying Zebra, not able to stand up to the fire, and that'll be the end of that. eHug just take a quick kill, little pick off, and Leviathan will have nothing to say about it. But this tower, they should be defending this one. They are positioning themselves around it, but it looks like maybe they're going to just let it fall and try to farm elsewhere on the map. They see the writing on the walls and really don't feel like they can go ahead and stop this push.
The Dire best do something about that bottom tower.
It does not change. Ooh, that's a good stat if I've ever seen one. All right, so it looks like maybe they go for it here. Jenkins is going to set himself up in the sidelines, but this ward, this vision coming in, gets full view of the jungle, and eHug are 2 steps ahead. And Leviathan find themselves backtracking, taking down a ward, and realizing that their time here for this defense, at least they can defend it, but they're not going to go ahead and take a team fight for their advantage.
Nope. The troll is crushing the BKB. He has to, but I'm scared about the time that he finishes it. The Lena's already going to have the axe.
Well, it's not so much the Lena Axe. I mean, Lena Axe is going to be huge here, but they need the BKBs for everything else. It's unfortunate if they have the Ags out, but they definitely are going to need those BKBs out. And at that point, the Ags is out for Lena, the Ags is out for Harry, or the Ags will be out for Lena, the Ags is already out for Harry. It's going to be very difficult, but I don't know. Leviathan are a team that pulls off crazier stunts, and right now, the stunt is taking a quick, easy, and uncontested Roshan.
It's the right call. They need to take advantage that they're on the Dire and just get as many rushes as possible.
The Dire took down.
Yep, and the battle trance, eHug can hear that, right? So they I guess didn't think it was going on. They are going to go ahead and grab themselves a tier 1 tower. No, Infinity going to play this one really, really safe and backs himself off. But map control is quickly going the way of eHug's right now. And Leviathan pull a little bit of it back. They go ahead and ward up eHug's jungle. They take out that ward that we mentioned up here on the cliff. So it helps them out a little bit. Maybe they go for their own push on a tier 1. This is a relatively healthy tier 1, but not any defense just yet. They're going to glyph it, but it looks like for the moment they're letting this one fall.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they want to defend it at all. You can't blame them because they're getting a tier 1 bottom and they're getting damage on the tier 2 top. The eHug lineup is.
Infinity's going to go ahead and blink himself away. And maybe he could have turned on that one, but I think with the supporting cast coming in, he had to be really, really careful. And well, we're going to go back to a little bit of farming. The score is 8-6 right now. Leviathan trailing behind 2 kills with golden XP in favor of eHug. About 5,000 gold, 3,000 experience. And it looks like Infinity, maybe the first target comes down. They're going to go ahead get the Light Strike Array, and they've got everything, but the Laguna Blade doesn't end up killing. Now a Viper Strike comes out, but the Urn of Shadows doing its job and will be enough. Flying Zebra tries to heal himself. The Death Ward isn't quite enough to clean Infinity, and that's a 2 for none. And Lena, well, she'll live.
That was so close. He got away with 12 HP. That would have been really huge if the Witch Doctor gets the kill. That would have given him at least like 1,000 net worth and maybe like 2 levels.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious if he had gotten that one. And you can see he's got that point booster, which not only helped him stay a little bit alive, but if he had gotten that kill, that probably would have been more than half of his ags already just shot out and completed. So unfortunate, but at the same time, that may have been an instance where he probably should have just let his Viper die. The Yule Scepter, though, definitely paying for itself at this point. And Leviathan, we mentioned that initiation range. They're definitely going to have to continue to be careful of that.
Yeah, and going back to the Ogre Magi, he's still not going for the axe. He picked up a Mana Boots and now is going for the Force Staff, so I'm really surprised by that.
They're going initiation range, and Aghanim Scepter is great for that extra little bit of damage, but I think he's going just full on teamwork here. So Force Staff is an absolutely pay for itself in a couple of uses item. That's going to be his choice there. Bottom tier 1 tower dropping very low. They're going to go ahead and pop a glyph on this one. But again, we're coming down to trades, and it looks like eHug are going to get the better end of this one as they get a lot of chip damage on this mid tier 2. And potentially even bring it down in this time that Leviathan have to react. It looks like they're taking a bit of time on their own, and they're just going to lose their tier 2 outright here.
It seems like they still wanted to defend it, but they're too late for it.
And Tiny proving to be a huge building crusher right now as they're not done. They're going up top, and it looks like Leviathan are really slow to react to this one. They're still walking, passing the Roche Pit now, and the top tier 2 is going to fall. They can't do anything about it, at least not yet. Maybe they go for the backstab, as it looks like we've got Shredder looking for it, but they're just going to let the tier 2 fall, and they lose a 2-for-1 tower trade, and a ton of gold just going the way, free gold going the way of Team eHug.
Yeah, I think that they wanted to defend, but then they realized that the boy didn't have a TP, which is really bad play from him. He should replace at least a stake with a TP.
Yep, and now the dreaded Lina Aghanim Scepter comes out, so that's going to be a huge player in this next fight. He can pretty much solo pick off anyone right now and get out alive in very no time at all. So Shredder's going to have to be very careful, but it looks like Leviathan are playing this one pretty aggressive, at least in their own lane. And Infinity backs himself off. Doesn't want to make too much of a stink about this one, at least not yet. Maybe now he'll go on this one. Shredder, none the wiser, shows himself up on the creep camps. Leviathan hanging close, but Infinity lurking in the shadows. And Bloodlust.
It seems like they're waiting for the Aegis to die, but they still have like a minute or so. I'm not really good reading this clock from the Russian pit, but it seems like that was the plan. Although Infinity's walking off.
Infinity could be in a lot of trouble right now. Misses the Light Strike Array, and now Chronosphere onto him. Jenkins will go out with the Viper Strike, and they'll kill him with MJW dropping as well. Sna getting cleaned up as a cloud, as just a being there. So Leviathan take a really good fight, and I can't exactly pin down what eHug's plan was there. Now Jenkins is on the chase. He wants to pile of stones. In comes Lust, though, but turns around immediately as Jenkins. They will clean up Nusham, and now Jenkins getting hexed. Hieri doing the damage. Runs away. That Viper, what is it? The corrosive skin slowing and keeping the Tiny at bay.
And it seems like Leviathan might get the tier 2 on top. Yeah, they're definitely getting this. So that was a really big play. Oh, yes.
Alright, not too bad. Not too bad. They get themselves a tower as well. Roche isn't up for a long time, and Harry's going to find the double damage room bot, but a very, very nice fight from Leviathan. And again, I got to ask the question hypothetically before, but now to you. What do you think eHug's plan was there?
So like I said before, they were waiting for the Aegis to time out, and they went as soon as it did, but it was a misplay by Infinity. He tried to just blink in and stun, although he was walking in vision, so Leviathan was prepared for that. And even though he still could have got it, but he chose not to use the Yules to initiate on the boy, and that was the big misplay, because the boy managed to get the blink away from the stun and just get the chrono on him, and that was just really good for Leviathan.
That was weird positioning too from Infinity as he just comes in. I mean, they have full vision of him from the creep wave. He kind of walked with the creeps for a bit there to initiate on the void, and I'm still a little bit perplexed as we get pointed out that this Tiny, sitting on a huge sum of gold. What do you think? Full Manta, Assault Cuirass?
I think it's gonna be the AC. They need the armor. Leviathan relies a lot still on the physical damage, so if he goes for the AC, they should be okay with it. And also the attack speed benefits Tiny a lot more than most items would do. And he picks up the upper stun, so it looks like he's going to be the AC.
Alright, so definitely AC. Maybe Mjolnir, but I severely doubt the latter, so... Ogre Magi sitting on about 1,000 gold on top of the 4-staff Earnest Shadows, maybe looking finally for the Aghanim Scepter, or just going to continue to go more teamwork. Never find out right now. He's been very crazy with his, very unpredictable with his item builds right now, so Lust meanwhile could be in a little bit of trouble. Jenkins barely spotting him out. They ping him, but he blinks himself away, and Leviathan are caught empty-handed. While eHug, they continue to be a little aggressive in Leviathan's jungle, but ultimately playing it much smarter than they did just a couple of minutes ago. Now we're at a bit of a Texas standoff. Both teams in Leviathan's jungle, with the exception of Hieri, who is still farming up a storm. Full Assault Cuirass just bought outright. And I don't think Leviathan knows that the Tiny's far enough away that they can't take the fight here, so they still play it very, very carefully. With a bit of a quasi-bait onto Shredder, maybe expecting the Infinity to get caught out of position like he did. Speaking of Shredder, 2,800 gold, have got the BKB and Maelstrom done. Think he's going to finish up the full Mjolnir from here?
Yeah, probably. I don't think he's going to drop any item, even the Mighty Sticks, so he will try to finish up the Mjolnir, although he's getting caught up.
Oh, this is a disaster here if he dies. He's going to BKB himself out, and, well...
Alright.
Disaster averted. 10-second BKB, but I don't know. I'd take a 10-second BKB over getting forced off the map for a big chunk of time any day.
Yeah, that was definitely good for Leviathan. eHug could have got the kill, and I'm surprised that they didn't commit for it. I guess they got a scare. He was close enough to like get on time. Like he wasn't right there to kill the boy, but he would have been in case the boy actually fought back.
Yep. I was wondering because even after he popped that BKB, just all they needed was that one bit of lightning and hope that it didn't backtrack. But I'm really surprised that Void lived there, and I'm happy he lived. Leviathan making the plays, but same time, oh, hold on, Jenkins gonna find Lust here in the jungle. Lust does have a blink, will use it, gets himself away, and that'll be the end of that. He's just playing a very aggressive support here as he kind of realizes that aside, well, everything that Leviathan has, he can see coming pretty much. So, aside from the blink dagger, but they didn't exactly use that one, so he can just react and blink himself away in enough time.
Dire's top tower, you know the drill.
And the Leviathan finds the observer that he placed earlier. They had a sentry that was right outside of the observer ward, so I'm surprised that they still found it.
30 seconds on the respawn time for Roshan. That's going to be a pretty nice timing, and Chevy scouting it out. I think they realize that it has to be very soon, because I'm pretty sure it was the max timer. So this Roshan has to be spawning in the next couple of minutes, and they know it. They gather themselves around the pit. And I'm not quite sure if eHug's properly positioned for this one. They're sitting in Leviathan's jungle. It looks like they came off the back of a smoke on that one too. But no, Leviathan, they want to find a fight. They're feeling pugnacious right now. They've got a positive Assault Cuirass debuff. Maybe they can, maybe eHug will see this one coming. Sna looks like he's going to be the target here. Shredder goes in, finds the chrono, maybe, no!
Oh.
He whiffs all three and misses, but gets the bash onto Hieri. Will get tossed up in the air, but the paralyzer, or the death ward comes down, and will finish up Hieri. Now Nusham in a little bit of trouble, but Infinity could be equally down, and the Light Strike Array will come out, but Shredder's there. They pop up a Yules, but this Lina is not getting away. Will drop even after a completely missed Chronosphere. They still win the fight, get about a 3,000 gold swing, 4,000 experience swing off that one, and Leviathan, on the snap of your fingers, will be in a very commanding position for this game.
Yeah, the dream is real. Now they're gonna get the Russian as well, and they're starting to get in par with the network. like the boy is only 1,000 away from the Tiny, so he's getting there. And the Chrono, even though he missed, it was still decent at some point because he just blocked the entire pathing of the Radiant towards there. So if eHug had any heroes on the other side, they had no chance to help the Tiny out.
Yeah, that kind of works the same way as a Fissure or an Ice Path. That zoning Chronosphere. We'll just say that it was completely intended that way and go there, but. No, that was really crazy from them, and I gotta say, I think I'm agreeing with my past self on this whole Lina thing. This has really been a fall from grace, Lina being so actively trying to find kills, and I will say failing, but still actively trying to find kills, that the farming hasn't really been done. The Hand of Midas is there, 3,000 gold, but her damage just isn't feeling like it's what it can be, especially considering that she's been using it on things like supports and then getting blown up immediately afterwards. So I don't know. I'm not really feeling this Lina right now. Maybe they can start to make it work, but it feels like it's fallen off really, really big, heavily.
Yeah, the problem is that even though they were ahead by a lot, they weren't actually pressuring Leviathan at all. They weren't going for like towers and all the like split pushing or train towers when the Leviathan was the one pushing up another lane. So that's a big questionable because they have like a Tiny that can actually destroy towers and a Lina that can actually defend him from actually dying, because if they go for the Tiny, then the Lina can just blink in and kill anyone pretty much, and they just take the fight up. But instead they're like, the Tiny hasn't been on any fights at all this game. He's just been hitting creeps, and that's what's making them like kind of fall behind. Even though he's on top of the network, he's not really doing anything with it.
Yeah, I mean, a farm Tiny's scary, but I really think Leviathan, they've got so many more right-clickers that can bring them down in no time at all. They've got they had an Assault Cuirass of their own, it looked like at some point. I guess I was just seeing things, but they should have no trouble bringing down this Tiny at this point. And you mentioned the Lina, that's gonna come into play hopefully, but at the moment they're not gonna make too big of a high ground attempt just yet. Just gonna go ahead and do some chip damage. They know they've got the Aegis in their arsenal, and Yulsepta goes up. They want to go ahead and try to clean out Jenkins. They should get him here, and they will, with the Laguna Blade flying out. But what is that? Kieri will die.
The boy TP'd on tier 3 and just PKB leap onto the Tiny and got the kill easily with the Chrono.
Ends up being a 2-for-1, so not too bad for eHug, but this Tiny is the one that you want farming, hitting creeps, and being successful. And if he just dies like that, that's not exactly accomplishing what you want him to. Now, he's going to have a Talisman of Evasion, which should help out a lot versus his right-clicking cast of Leviathan, as none of them are really showing any headway towards anything like a Monkey King bar, so that's going to help out a lot, especially since Chronosphere doesn't disable evasion anymore.
Yeah, but if he shows it, like when he responds, I think that the boy can easily go for the MKB as soon as the Aegis dies. He's got to go for it, pretty much.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be really interesting to watch his itemization here, because he definitely will see that Talisman of Evasion coming out the moment they see Tiny on the map again. That's going to be a very big thing, because a Butterfly will spell disaster for Leviathan if they're not ready for it, and Leviathan, they just back themselves up, farm themselves, do what they're known for, farming the map, farming the Ancients and the jungle creeps, and just trying to get as much gold out before their next fight. Meanwhile, eHug, they kind of stepped on the wrong foot a little bit there, but now they're starting to find their stride again. Pushes back a bottom tower, a bottom attack on the tower, and well, they get their own side of the map to farm as well.
We can see that the Witch Doctor already has the Aghanim Scepter. That's a really big step towards winning the game, because that Aghanim is gonna do so much against the squishy supports from eHug. We see the aggressive smoke coming up. They still have the Aegis. It's gonna end up soon, so they want to take the fight.
If you can find it, he doesn't end up seeing. I don't think they have any vision just yet. And they're going to go hunting, but their smoke hasn't been dispelled yet, so they know that no one's close by.
Oh, they see Infinity now.
They see Infinity. They'll go in. They drop the Chrono. He yields to himself to give precious seconds, but that's not going to save him from the Mystic Flare. And Infinity, Shallow Grave, will stay alive. Lust, though, not so lucky. Harry getting dominated by this Death Ward. Will get away, though, at a fairly decent chunk of HP. And with the Aegis finally dropping, the tower stopping the regen, but that's 2 down. And Hieri being forced back to the fountain as eHug. They give away their tier 2 tower and maybe see some chip damage on their tier 3 mid.
Yeah, I think it seems like Leviathan wants to keep going. I'm not sure if there's the right call though. Without the Chrono, yeah, but the Tiny is still pretty farm, so and they don't have the Chrono to stop him from right clicking. So they need to run this really well.
Shallow Grave on the MJW keeps him alive. Arcane Bolt though coming through. The poison damage will be enough to clean him up. Shredder goes to town on the tower, will bring it down. The racks now completely exposed. 20 seconds before Lena's back. 55 before MJW.
Oh my god.
But a nice Earth Spike, and this is just going to clean him up. 1 down, 2 down, 3 down. Shredder trying to fight for his life, but one more swipe is all it's going to take. The toss, the death, and Hieri unloading. You can tell he was waiting a long time for that one. 2 with buyback on Leviathan. But what an immediate turnaround for eHug here as they clean up shop.
That was such a good air spike by the Lion. They just gave so much room for the Tiny to just burst them down.
Yep, and this butterfly, is the butterfly out? Looks like the courier was at the secret shop, so I wouldn't doubt it if it was coming on in. They're going to have an Atos. Hieri was going to get healed, or at least saved by the Shallow Grave. Now with the butterfly coming in, Hieri's pushing his luck here. No more Mystic Flare for 25 seconds is going to mean that this push, I don't think they want to buy back, and they definitely will delay it as long as possible. And actually, they're going to go ahead, throw out the Rod of Atos with the Death Ward coming out. All it needs to do is finish bouncing. He may die here. His poison's there, but they're going to go ahead out with the Shallow Wave. Isn't going to matter as they bring him down. A nice killing spree there. Shibby comes in, will blink forward, wants more, and will find it. Infinity's going to drop. And that's going to be the concussive shot to bring him down. And just like that, another complete and utter, well, not this time it wasn't a clean face, but still a very convincing defense there. It looks like they did end up buying back on the Faceless Void because, well, he pretty much had to. And it looks like he's going to be going for that Monkey King bar, as you mentioned, right after the Aegis of Mortality. So farming up the map, trying to get that 3K gold. Will not have to worry about buyback, at least for not for 6 minutes. So he's looking all right, but Hieri is just looking so dominant right now. They bring him down, but that's because he was sitting up very close with very low amounts of HP. And he just backed off and saved a little bit of time there. He would have gotten away, wouldn't have had to worry about dying there, and he'd just be farming it up right now.
Yeah, he got too greedy. He should have backed at this moment that the Scarlet did that much damage on him. He had like only 300 HP and he kept on attacking the towers, so that was just a misplay. They got greedy. They shouldn't back.
Yep. And that greed is going to severely pay as the Aegis goes away of Shredder again. And now it's Cheese on Leviathan's side. So that's going to mean that this next fight, well, I mean, bar a complete disaster, is going to go the way of Leviathan. So we'll just have to wait and see how they play their cards right now.
So nothing major coming up, although the Ogre Mage is finally getting close to the Hagamin sector.
It's a very axe game. Rubik's father would be proud.
Yeah. There's a lot of heroes with Axe. I think the entire line of eHug is making one. Well, except Lion. Hopefully he gets one eventually.
I don't know. Well, yeah. Hopefully he does. But aside from that, where else do you think he could go in terms of items at this point?
He's gonna go for like more utility. Maybe like a Ghost Scepter into E-play. Not so much for the offensive E-play, but more defensive one. So he can actually E-play whoever gets into Chrono and help their teammate that way.
Yep.
That would be the ideal item. He can, other than that, he can maybe go for an Eels, maybe? Or just save for the buyback.
Yeah, you know, I think I like the Ethereal Blade just a little bit more than something like the Rules at this point, because you're right. That Chronosphere nullification there is going to speak volumes, as well as just being able to do a lot more damage with your finger. That'll help out a lot too. So, bottom tier 2 taking some damage. This will be the last tower, outer tower, to go down. Meanwhile, Leviathan group up in the top lane. It looks like both teams going to opposite sides of the map, but I think eHug's going to have to be the first ones to back off here, and it looks like they will. Teleport already back from Lust. In comes MJW. No, maybe they only bring back their 2 supports, and Leviathan are going to go ahead and just go for it. Shibby not casting BKB soon enough, but does have the cheese. Will have to use it at least very soon. He does get it off, but the tower top may go down. Chronosphere flies out, and they will pick up Hieri. If he goes down here, this will be huge, and he will. 80 seconds he has to buy back. It will be the death of Shibby, though, here on the high ground. On a 1-for-1, Shibby has buyback as well. Teleport out, and that will be Skyrath save. Flying Zebra, a 4x multicast in the stun, 2x onto the ignite. 2x doesn't really matter, but they bring him down. No buyback on the Witch Doctor. Now, this is huge, because if Hieri dies again, this is a very, very bad situation for eHug, but that might be a little bit far-fetched, as there's 57 seconds left on the Chronosphere cooldown. So Leviathan are going to have to defend this at the very least 4v5.
I'm not really sure what happened right here. The boy sold the power trace, but he didn't actually have the gold for a boost of travels or anything for that matter, and ends up buying another brown boots, pretty much.
Anyway, Viper Strike comes out onto the area. He's just going to go straight onto this Rax, and with the Avalanche flying out, they're going to go ahead, pop out the pipe, but the Rax are dead, and that is the green light for eHug to back themselves off. Maybe not here. He's going to go in. Rod of Atos comes out, but it's not going to matter. They're going to put out the Laguna Blade, and down goes the Viper, buys himself back. Shredder in a lot of trouble. Backtrack. Does end up getting his Aegis popped, though. Jenkins Yules up, saves himself some time. Shredder goes out. Shallow Grave doesn't last forever, and that is the raid boss down, and everyone else follows suit. 100 seconds down on your Tiny. Buyback on the Lina, as should be happening, but all of Leviathan is alive and healthy, and now they push down the mid lane. Can they end it now?
They definitely can. They don't have buyback on the Tiny, and they only have like support heroes and the Lina to defend the high ground, and that's not enough. They got the Chrono up.
Lust doesn't have a TP. He can't go back to his base. Creep cutting is okay, but I mean, they've got a full creep wave coming in anyway. This isn't as effective as I think he'd hope it would be. And Lion is a null factor right now. Shibby just goes straight up. They equalize out the Rax. No contest here. And maybe they go for more. Bottom lane is looking awfully juicy, and they go for it and take a huge bite. The tier 3 tower should fall. They have nothing really to stop this one, and tier 3 already dead. 40 seconds on Tiny, but it feels like an eternity as the bottom Rax is just going to fall. 2 racks down on the side of eHug. Only a half a Rax, half a set of racks down for Leviathan. Weave flies out, minus armor, but there's still only 4 alive for eHug. They're just going to go all in on this one. They want megas. Jenkins is going to sit up and take as much as he can, but he is doing just what he needs to be doing. Backdoor protection, though, is up, and no one close by to bring it down. Leviathan are going to have to back themselves off. Jenkins caught on the high ground. Flying Zebra, it might be the next one to go down. Death Ward goes out, it's up on the high ground. Now onto Infinity, but they get the stun out onto him. And 3 dead. Leviathan could get wiped. They do get wiped. And very, very greedy, and they pay for it. Now all are dead, 3 with buyback. And it is a very similar situation to not 10 minutes ago, or 5 minutes ago, except eHug is the aggressor, and Leviathan are going to be the ones that have to buy back their 3. Oh man, this is trouble.
Yeah, we finally saw the impact of the Lina. He defended the base really well and got a triple kill. Oh, eHug is gonna back
Yep, 3
We just did
buybacks.
buyback.
This is getting swamped.
Now the range Rax is dropping very low. That's a 3 creep Bloodlust there. And they made short work of that. But this eHug back off is very interesting. Now it looks to me like they just want to slow siege this one from here, but the longer they wait, the more Leviathan has an option defending this one, and I think they realize that now. eHug just goes straight on up, and they're going to try to bring down a second set of racks for themselves. In comes their Lion, but Shredder goes in with the Chronosphere. Shallow Graves comes out in here, but very early. He's going to live, and oh wait, no, Shredder down, no buyback. Here he falls, but is it enough for Leviathan? As
Depends on what eHug
down.
does. I don't think they can get another set of lane Braxes.
They're
Although
going
they're
for
trying for it, they're going, yeah.
Actually, this tier 3 goes down, and they actually got the range. There's nothing they can do to defend this one, at least not yet. Lust goes in with the Hex. In comes Shredder, though, trying to find something. Death Ward goes out, but MJW going to clean up the Rage Barracks, and that is the retreat. Jenkins comes in, but immediately gets Earth Spiked, and now Lust will drop. But Leviathan, all of a sudden, in a bad position again. And this game, it feels like a roller coaster.
It really does, it's just back and forth. I think it's team wiping, goes into the enemy base just to get team wiping return, and then it just keeps repeating itself. They're about even right now, with eHug just ahead of 1 range Rex. That's it. Yep.
Oh man, this
Well, they're
roast
pretty much
spawn is
even
gonna
right
be
now.
huge. If it's a short time, then Leviathan are going to be really happy with this one. Anything more than a minute, and this is very poor for Leviathan. So we'll have to see. And a minute exactly. Oh man, even that seems a little bit far-fetched for them. So Roshan not going to be up. There's no cheese for a minute. And that's going to give eHug plenty of time to be in a point of contention. As opposite lanes are pushing out, mid lane at equilibrium. And Leviathan, I guess, just paying for their greed right now. This top lane, or this, they didn't have to die here in this top lane, but they did anyway, and that's trouble. As an Ethereal Blade is done, now on the Lina, looking very, very scary. Ethereal Blade getting close for Lust, but still about 2.3k off.
Yeah. He stops himself and goes for a boost of travel instead of finish up the E-play.
I like that decision.
Yeah. That way he's not gonna run out of TPs and be in the middle of the top lane while the enemies pushing their base and stuff like that.
He just used that bots though, so I'm not quite sure he can get himself back. Not for 30 seconds. Leviathan, they're going to make use of this one. In comes Shibby, canceling Blinks as best he can. Eul Scepter goes in, but they want Shibby, or they want Infinity. He will pop himself into Ghost Scepter. Now they turn onto him in the back line, so they will get a Chronosphere. Harry will drop 80 seconds, 90 without buyback. Void, though, in a very similar position, but the big thing is Infinity's gone. Oh, but buyback just came back. Oh, man, that's unfortunate.
They still have a chance. Although the Titans should be going straight up for the Russian and then trying to end the game. Los is trying to split push as much as he can, just try to force a buyback, I mean a TP back into the base.
He forces something.
Might not be necessary.
It could be his death though. He needs Blink, 3 seconds he gets it. Buyback onto Tiny. They want to contend Roche. No, maybe it's Jenkins they want. He's going to the Sna. Again, he sees blood in the water, but maybe it was a bait. He's going to bring down Sna. No, Sna! He TPs himself away. And Jenkins. Oh, Jenkins. 88 seconds on the board for him. No buyback.
He'll have buyback in 30 seconds. But the big problem is that eHug is gonna scout the Russian and they might get it themselves.
Gonna get the
if they do, I think they might win the game just out of this.
Yep,
they don't have the boy to contest this. Oh my god.
This is a disaster for Leviathan. It seems like everything they're doing just is... Oh no, Flying Zebra! Oh man, that ward paying for itself there. And eHug, they grab the kill. Flying Zebra doesn't have buyback. This is just Leviathan going like lamb to the slaughter. Oh man, this is a crazy, crazy circumstance for Leviathan. I don't know, man. Do you think they can continue to defend onslaught after onslaught, especially now with eHug having an Aegis under their belt?
The problem is they have the lineup for it. although they don't really have the heroes to clean the creep waves, the problem is the boy with the last 2 buybacks and the boost of travel money and all sort of boots and
Mega
problems
creeps.
that he's had.
Maybe, maybe not. Barry, they're going to drop a Chronosphere, but it's going to be on the Sna. They want him first. They want the supports dead. They do not want any more shallow graves, but they're going to pay for this. Shredder dropping very low, will go down. No buyback. This Butterfly paying dividends right now. Wow, that's my repetitive phrase of the day. Lust will go down, but that is the Lightning to fly. And Infinity, oh man, will bring down the next core. Troll Warlord taking some pretty severe heat, and Infinity the one to give it. Jenkins dropping very low, buyback onto the Skywrath Mage,
His mid tower won't last.
but that's Mega Creeps. And here
They're
he's
still
dropping
blocking.
very low. They're going to bring them
didn't
both
split that?
down.
They
No.
may even get the Tiny, although going back
know.
to defend the throne.
I think I've heard that buyback like several times in a row. Flying Zebra. This is supports and a Viper versus a
Yeah.
Tiny. Now you want him though. Then they get
got a
them.
hit card.
Death Ward comes out, but he gets away from it barely. He goes down with the Maledict. Now Sna will bring down the Skywrath Mage. Nusham taking a fall there, but Sna could end up dropping
No.
as well. Lust though on the high ground will defend him, and
They
Tiny
had to
down
fall
for
back
80.
and defend the throne. The problem now is even worse for the Leviathan team.
Yep.
They don't have the heroes to deal with the Mega Grips. They don't have like a boy with Battle Fury or anything like sort of a splash damage. They just don't clear the creep waves fast enough to actually gain into the Radiant base.
Yep, in comes a Viper Strike. Infinity gonna pop out with the pipe, but I guess that doesn't block the pure damage of the Laguna Bladed. Well,
The boy is back alive, and with Chrono, maybe they got a few kills and hang in there, but it's still not enough. Like the point that I was trying to make before the fight is that if the boy didn't waste so much money on the last 50 minutes, he will be really close or already have a refresher, and with that the game is completely different. They could kill the Tiny on the Chrono and just refresh and get the support heroes with the second Chrono.
yep. Yeah, that fight felt like if you did have that next Chrono, that would be a completely different fight. But again, their greed forcing him to buy back, taking bad fights and having to pay for it. It really took its toll on Leviathan. And it comes down to, I won't say late game decision making, but just small mistakes here and there will cost you the game.
Small
And
mistakes. It
I
wasn't
think
anything big. It's not like he spent the gold on another item that was completely useless.
Yep.
I think his item choices were fine. It's just really unfortunate that he had to buy back like that a few times.
Alright, so Leviathan have to really, really bank on them getting a full 5-man Chronosphere and wiping eHug in a very short amount of time, because otherwise there's too much damage sustained between the Tiny, the Lina. Even now the rest of the supporting cast has been getting a lot of damage. It's going to be very, very difficult for Leviathan to do anything in the next fight. Even with that full mythical 5-man Chrono, they just have to rely on so much either RNG or anything in between to help them out in this game.
And eHug doesn't want to take any risks. They're just waiting for the buyback on cooldown on the Tiny, and then they're just gonna stray up end the game. Because Leviathan can't afford to leave the base right now. They're just confined in there.
Yeah, this is a drawback of Mega Creeps though too. I mean, not only do you lose pretty much 100% of your map control, but even if you win a fight, pushing out after that fight is not only incredibly difficult, it's pretty much impossible. The only thing they've got going for them is that Leviathan have no buybacks. So if they win a 5-man wipe, then maybe they can get a full 5 push man down mid and try to clean up Ancient, but that's going to be very difficult, especially considering how the last couple of fights have gone. And Mask of Madness gets popped by Shredder, but he's not able to do anything with it.
Dire's mid tower.
Jumping in for a Chronosphere is very risky at this point, especially if eHug's on top of their hexes.
And even if Leviathan tries to do smoke and get out of the base, the eHug lineup staying really close to their lanes, and as soon as the Leviathan smokes out, they're just gonna be revealed, and eHug can just get away or even fight them.
Yeah, and I don't feel like there's any pressure on them right now. They definitely can get a little bit of extra farm. They still have some room for some more items. Lion can get a knee blade. Dazzle has his Aghanim Scepter. He can get like a sheep stick or Atos or Force Staff or anything. I mean, eHug has plenty of room for gold right now. So just taking a step back and just farming it up is no trouble for them. Meanwhile, Leviathan, even though they have 3 constant waves pushing in at a smaller gold bounty, that's still a huge amount of gold that's always in their base. But even with that, they're not going to be able to out-farm eHug. And it gets very difficult from this point on. If they can't find a fight, take it and wipe eHug.
Yeah. And the thing is that I don't think eHug is gonna give them the chance to even do it. And if they do, it's gonna be like in about 2 minutes from now. And by that time, eHug is already gonna have the buybacks on pretty much every hero, because that's what they're waiting for right now. They're just waiting for the buyback cooldowns and gold for the heroes that need it.
He already has his up a minute 50 plus 700 gold for Infinity. And they go in. They're going to go in. Force Staff Blink onto Jenkins. Where's that BKB being popped? It looks like, I don't know. The fight's up top, though. They want Infinity, and they'll bring him down. 118 seconds. No buyback for a minute 30. Now they try to find more. They want Sna, and Shibi will go on to him with a Rod of Atos. Is going to be very difficult. Has to pop his BKB. In the meantime, where's Tiny in all this? He's just kind of chilling out. Chilling like a villain here by the Ancients. MJW might be in a little bit of trouble, though, but Tiny is coming in, and the big rock to anchor his team. Flying Zebra, though, with the Death Ward, is making huge work right now, and they will bring down MJW. He already backs away at about half HP. But that Death Ward doing a lot of work. Fortunately, they can't really do much with it.
The problem is that even though the Tiny is so farmed, he doesn't have a BKB, so he gets guided really easily, which is a roll of Atos. Like that last fight, he couldn't even get the reckless that he wanted because he was so slow.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm really liking Leviathan, but they're getting their good fights when things are already seeming pretty grim, and I gotta give them a lot of respect. They're fighting this one out like I know Leviathan does, but I won't say hopeless, but at this point I feel like I'm just watching a dead man walking.
But that almost sounds worse than saying hopeless. But yeah, this is pretty hard for them to win this game.
See, the thing about Dead Man Walking versus Hopeless, though, is at least Dead Man Walking, they've got their own movies, genre, apocalypse is themed around them. When it's Hopeless, it's just Hopeless, so I don't know.
Oh well.
It's 60 minutes into this game, like 35 to 33. Golden XP doesn't even matter right now. I can show you if you like to see pretty graphs, but right now the only thing that matters is that little block on the left of my screen showing who has buyback and who doesn't.
That's right. I'm surprised by the boys' item choice. Oh, never mind. He goes and sells the Vitality Builder. It seems like he wanted to go for hard, but that makes no sense at all.
Jenkins, he's in a lot of trouble right now. Does have buyback. And he's actually alive. He turns around. Pipe's there. Hieri, he might not be for very much longer. And 2 down. Hieri and Lust both will see the bottom of the map as they slowly fade into oblivion. Both have buyback. But that's not exactly what you want.
Yeah, I pointed out that he sold the Vitality Booster. I don't know why he bought it to begin with, but at least he sold it. Now he's gonna get the Russian.
No, this is risky. The weave comes through, gives full vision of this one. Minus armor, doesn't exactly do much for the magic damage. In comes Infinity, though. Do they have a Chronosphere? Aghanim Scepter, not Aghanims, BKB, Chrono, Infinity, and a lot of trouble. That Shallow Grave, again, pretty early. The Death Ward comes through, and this is it. MJW down, Shredder alive, but Roshan says no way. Buyback from the Faceless Void. Sna taking a bit of damage but survives. Lust is back in this. And Nusham, he wants it. He gets the gem. Can he pick it up? He can drop his magic wand or something like that, but they're going to leave the gem. Maybe Flying Zebra gets it. The base, maybe in a little bit of trouble, but is still alive. Shredder goes straight to Roshan, but Lust again. What's he going to do? Oh, man, I think he's going for the Aegis steal. He goes in, finds the Earth Spike, and he gets forced. Oh, blink in, Earth Spike, force out. Cheeky.
He's toying with them.
He has blink again in 5 seconds.
He's not going to try to steal it.
All right, so Gem and Cheese on Flying Zebra. They get themselves back to... Oh, no, Lust. Lust, got to be careful. He's fine. No buyback onto him, though. 5.5 minutes. And fight after fight being taken from Leviathan. But...
They're not giving up.
No,
they're fighting their way into this game.
They are definitely putting on a show, and it is really, really, really amazing to watch them give this much resolve in a game that, I mean, has just been so back and forth. Has to be really mentally taxing on the players. The viewers are having a ball, I imagine, but the players, they've got to be at each other's, either at each other's throats or just completely worn down. Like, have you been in this situation before? I know you have. What are you thinking at this point?
If I'm like on Leviathan, I would be kind of depressed, to be honest. It's even though you're winning the fights, you're still not getting objectives, and the game is still like really hard to win. And I'm sure they know about it, but they still don't want to give up. There's no reason to do it. It's better to just finish up the game and do your best until the end. As for eHug, they were like, alright guys, we need to calm down, we are throwing too much, we can just sit back and watch them play tower defense and just finish up some items and stuff like that. They don't really need all the pressure to end the game at all. So I'm sure they're relaxed at this point.
Both teams are a pretty steady stream of gold coming in, though. We mentioned lane gold is all going to Leviathan, jungle gold is all going to eHug, and although I think eHug gets a little bit more out of it, that still gives a lot to Leviathan to keep farming up, keep getting these items out. And not to mention, winning fights at this point is very big for their economy, so I don't know. Faceless Void, what has he itemized in the past? Like, I don't really feel like his items have gotten any better. It looks like he's just been getting a little bit better with these Chronospheres, or his team has been getting a couple more items. I don't know. He's sitting at 3,600 gold and no buyback for 4 minutes. What does he do with this?
Maybe he's still good. He should go for the Refresher Orb. It's the item that can give them enough chance. Because the Refresher Orb, he can actually win the fights for his team. But if they want to still play like this kind of defense, the base, and just wait for eHug to make a mistake, maybe he goes for like a Battle Fury just to clean the creepers a lot easier. He needs to replace the Max of Madness with something, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, the battle trance is there. He doesn't exactly need that movement speed, but he goes in anyway. He could be in a lot of trouble here. They pull out the Avalanche. They pull out the stops, but the Chronosphere goes down here. He's taking a lot of damage, but Shredder's still alive even after that full-on Laguna Blade. And Infinity could end up dropping for this. 100 seconds down on Hierdy, but he does have buyback. Lust in a little bit of trouble to Scotty from Shibby, keeping him close by. But he, oh no, the Whirling Axe is missed. And now with the Hex, Shibby's still alive, only barely, has the cheese, will pop it. Sna, Shallow Grave, isn't able to stay alive, though the bashes will keep him from getting out. But in comes Infinity, Yule Scepter down, Shibby dropping low. Do they have a Laguna Blade? 18 seconds, doesn't even matter. He'll go down. Shredder is low as well. The Hex comes out onto him. Laguna Blade up, 11 seconds, again, won't matter. Aegis popped. Lust taking a lot of damage. He'll probably drop here, and it looks like he will. In comes the Hex. Do they have the Laguna? It looks like they do. Don't even need it, but they will use it anyway. And that's a 3 for 3 plus buybacks. I don't know. At this point, I really don't know. The only thing I do know, though, is that it's pretty much good game. Leviathan have no way of defending their Ancient. And Yeti, big, strong, and in charge. They just go for it. They take down the buildings. I imagine we'll start to see the G's fall. Crazy, crazy good game. Lot of fun to cast, but in the end, eHug will take the victory.
well played by both teams. Leviathan was playing from behind pretty much from the start, but they still had a lot of confidence. They were just going for the Russian, getting towers in return, making sure that they weren't actually losing anything by the split push from eHug, and they managed to actually pretty much get ahead at some point of the game, but a bit of questionable misplays and a bit of greed ended up giving eHug a lot more farm that they needed and just the room to win the game just by trading towers in return.
What a story this tells. 16.9 fantasy points on Shredder. Loses the game but gets the most fantasy points. That is a story of a very, very close game. Well played to both teams. I got to thank you, man, for sticking with me through thick and thin on that one. That's at FanOfSoyeon for those of you who want to follow this lovely, wonderful piece of human on Twitter. I'm at TedCast if you want to continue to follow me, keep updates on when I go live. I greatly appreciate it. At CartDota for the Statsman for the night, always faithful to the CEVO crew. Thanks to all. Any last words you want to say before we sign off?
Good night to everybody, and really good game for both teams. It was a pretty good an hour and 10 minutes or so. Watching
well
this
spent.
was really enjoyable.
Good night indeed, guys. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you all next time.